Hey up everybody, Davy D here. Thank you for tuning in to another video. So on this video I thought I'd do one about the actual running costs of my SLK350. Now I just wanted to turn around and say thank you so much for the people that have subscribed to the channel, but also for the people that have watched my full walk around video of this car, because that's now hit 16,000 views and I never thought that was going to hit anything near that kind of number. So thank you ever so much to everybody that's tuned in. Thank you to everybody that comments on all the videos. I don't get a chance to do a lot of them, but I'm hoping I've changed jobs now, so I'm hoping I will have a little bit more time to do a couple more videos. So I have now owned this car since March 2018, which is just over 6 years. Also, I got it with 70,000 miles on, and I've just ticked over to 95,000, I think it is. 95,200 miles. So in 6 years, 2 months, 25,000 miles a year, which I don't think is bad going for what's primarily, it is a weekend car and a driving event car. So, costs then. So, there's a couple, one thing I will point out for here in the UK especially. So my car is a 2006 56 plate SLK350. Alright. That makes a difference because the first thing I'm going to cover is tax. Road tax we pay over here in the UK. And for this car, at this age, it is £710 a year that I pay, which is just over, I think I pay got it set up at £65 or something like that for monthly payments, and that's a lot. So for anybody that's thinking about buying one of these cars, so yeah, 2004 to 2006 it was £415 a year. Then between 2006 on a 56 plate and 2008 on a 58 plate, the government changed it for that 2-year period of time to £710, which is a bit annoying. Because I'm paying the same as an SLK55, the big 5.4 litre V8 version of this car. After 2008, you then get to 415, back down to £415. So it's something to consider if you're buying one of these cars. To be fair, I bought the car because I'm buying a vehicle on the condition and basically how I'm looking at the car. I'm not buying it purely on how cheap the tax is. Bear in mind that this is a pre-facelift car, and I state that because when the facelift came out, the 350 engine changed and it was more economical, which is probably the reason why the tax dropped back down again, because it was probably better on the CO2 emissions. So you're buying a 3.5 litre V6 engine, alright, an SLK 350, so you're buying it, I'm guessing, primarily to have a bit of fun down the B roads. So down those said B roads, if you're going to hammer it, brake, accelerate, brake, and going to have a bit of fun, you are going to average perhaps 18 miles per gallon, perhaps 20. All right, depending on how heavy footed you are. But overall, to get to that B road and get back, you're probably going to be talking roughly 25 to 28 miles per gallon on a tank of fuel. I normally get 400 miles on average to a tank of fuel. Urban driving is going to be more like 25 miles per gallon, combined about 28. If you're going steady on a run down the motorway and you're going to average, well, 62 miles an hour, 100 kilometers an hour, you are probably going to be reaching about 32, 33 miles per gallon, all right, in a nice long run. I sometimes, because I'm an ex-HGV driver, sometimes I will drive at about 56 miles an hour down the motorway. I can then get it to nudge 35, if I'm lucky 36 on a run. But yeah, so that's the most extreme that I can get out of the car. Every fifth tank, I will use a full tank of premium fuel just to help clean out the engine, and I usually only use Shell V-Power. But yeah, so that's my choice. It's up to you what you want to do. Insurance next. So again, insurance costs vary, really does depend on where you live, who you are, what your age is. So to give you an idea, I declare my car has got non-standard alloys because they are aftermarket alloys that are a little bit wider than they were from factory. All right, so last year, so just to clarify as well, so depending over here in the UK, it's on your postcode where you live. So I'm 49 years old. I've got my driving license for over since I was 18, and I've got over 20 years no claims bonus. I always have my no claims bonus protected, and I always have legal cover, accident cover, windscreen cover, and courtesy car. So those are the 3 extras. Last year was 276. This year the insurances have jumped ridiculously here in the UK. So my renewal quote was 383. Cheapest quote I got through a comparison site was 345. And then I started trying to get eSure, who I'm with, to price match. They said they wouldn't. Told them I was leaving. So I said I wouldn't. They then reduced the price a bit. I said, well, I'm not going to match it. I'll go somewhere else. And then they came back with a price that was pretty close to what I found elsewhere. So I just stayed with them. But yeah, so I'm now paying about £330 a year, and that's for 4,000 miles a year, social use only. But yeah, so that's my insurance, but that's very much going to be dependent on yourselves and your own circumstances. Repairs and servicing. So this car, when I bought it, didn't have a book, but I had all the MOT certificates, but I didn't have all the repair certificates. So what I did is I got a little file and basically put all my bills, date order, in here with all the MOTs. So the list that I'm going to run through is just parts. I'm going to try and give you an idea roughly when some of them came in, because obviously costs will have changed a little bit. But yeah, so the main thing for me to start with is I've been using my own local garage for 22 years. So I trust the guy implicitly with my cars. I trust him that if he doesn't know what he's doing, he'll tell me to go somewhere else. All right, it's not a Mercedes specialist. It's just a local guy that I've used so regular. So, as a rough guide, average £50 per hour labour costs. And this is your rough charges, what it charges for me. So, a basic oil and filter service, £120. I do that yearly, no matter what mileage I've done. It goes in for MOT, it gets a service. No, don't have to do that. Isn't what it says to do in the service manual. My choice, I want it doing like that. So a front spring, I've had a front spring, £60 for the part, £50 labour plus VAT, so plus 20% VAT. Front bumper, I had to have a crash sensor fitted. That was £60 for the sensor plus VAT, £50 labour cost fitting. He did tell me that there's about 4 sensors in the bonnet, in the bumper, front bumper, and that was by far the cheapest one that could have gone wrong, so I was lucky there. Boot cover switch. Boot cover switch, so this is the tornado cover, which you have to pull down so that the roof can go down. You need to have that closed for the roof to work, and the sensor had failed. So when I pulled it closed, it didn't register that it was closed. So that was a £24 from Mercedes, genuine part. 91,000 miles, I had a big bill. So I had 2 heater sensors that had failed. I was basically I couldn't get hot air at the same temperature as the other side of the car. So we had to get those sensors. So that was the dashboard that had to come out partly. So to replace both of those sensors, it cost me £28 each, and also had to have 6 coil units fitted to the car because it was starting to misfire. They were £35 plus VAT each. Cost me all in, fitted, 480 quid. for the coils and the heater sensors. 90,000 miles, had a big service. So that was MOT, oil filter, air filter, spark plugs, pollen filter, antifreeze, and also needed to have 2 new rear brake pipes fitted. They were copper ones, all in 530 quid including VAT. New heater fan. So the actual fan itself had failed because I got water ingress come into the car. That was from the battery compartment. There's a drain hole in there that got full. The water then came over the top, comes into the dashboard and flowed through into the actual motor itself for the heater fans. So I had to have a new heater fan. All right, that fan was £256 plus VAT and a separate fitting as well, and that had to be a genuine Mercedes part, that wasn't a second-hand one. All right, always check your drain holes regular. What we've done is in the new one we've put 2 little holes just in the bottom near the motor, so that if any water comes through it'll start draining out, and then I'll realise there's an issue. So that's something if it happens in the future. 88,000 miles, had an issue with the intake manifold. So there is actually a specific kit to replace this, and it's the actuator flaps, I think that's right, but basically the flaps were sticking, so we had to take the manifold apart off the top of the engine, replace the flaps, all in £255 for that job. In 2001, at 83,000 miles, had a new drive belt fitted. That was £265 all in. So tyres. So yeah, so when I bought the car, in 2018, I had some new Pirelli P0s fitted for £470 for the pair. They were on 19-inch alloy wheels. All right, so that's 2018. I then changed to the new alloy wheels 3 years later. It was quite close to when COVID hit. So no, 2020. I bought the 4 set of alloy wheels. They are GMP Italia Stella wheels in silver. The 225 4018s on the front and the 245 35 18s on the rear. So I've got a staggered setup. When I bought them, I had them fitted with Goodyear Eagle F1 asymmetrical 5s all round. They cost me £1,040 for the entire set, wheels and tyres, which I thought was quite a good deal, and I highly recommend those Goodyear tyres. I thought they were really, really good. But yeah, I'd done that. Those Pirellis were getting worn, so 2 years I'd replace. You know, it'd taken before they got replaced, and then from those asymmetrical tyres, I had to have two new tyres fitted last year, and we ended up going for 245 35 18s. They were Hankook S1 Evo 3s. Apparently Porsche use them. They were £110 plus VAT each. So I'm going through tyres, rear tyres, about every 3 years. Front ones don't need to worry so much, but rear tyres about every 3 years. Depends how you drive. Gearbox service. So this is a bit of a debatable one. Some people go with what Mercedes say, and that's that the gearbox units, the automatic units, are sealed and shouldn't be touched. Some places, some forums say you should do. I decided I wanted to get mine serviced. My mechanic wouldn't touch it, advised me to go to a automatic transmission specialist, which I did go to in Huddersfield. £200 for a service. 2019, so parts might have gone up in price a little bit here, but I need to have new front discs and pads fitted. They were £300. Rear pads I had to have fitted, £70, and then I needed some new boot support struts. They were £30, genuine Mercedes parts for those two. With regards to those front discs and pads though, they were not Mercedes discs, but they were the same brand that Mercedes use. I'll be damned if I can remember what the name of them was. So I did get a repeated SRS warning light on here, so I had to pay a couple of times for it to be checked over. Turned out that SRS warning light, which comes up in red, it was because my seat kept on, when we're moving it, the actual cables were getting loose underneath, so you can actually see the history that it had been reported and investigated a few times, or people had just paid and basically had the light cancelled off and paid 40 quid to have it removed. But yes, if you get an SRS warning light on there, it could be something as simple as a cable that's come loose underneath. So what I did do was a lot of work on the paintwork on this car. So didn't have any issues, but one of the killers with Mercedes of this generation is rust, and I started getting rust on both rear wheel arches. They were stone chipped as well anyway, so I had them taken back and repaired before having a paint correction done, and that cost me £350 for both sides. I then had an issue with my driver's door. There'd been a repair that had been done that I couldn't spot when I first bought the car. That had started falling away. It was a poor repair, so I had to have that fixed. Also the driver's sill, somebody had used a jack and missed the actual jack point, so it cracked my door sill. And also the front bumper had got cracked at the front because it had been basically parked up and kept on nosing. The nose had kept on hitting the wall, so it flexed it and crazed it. So that had to have a bit of repair work done. So for those 3 pieces, £800, and then I got round to my 2-stage paint correction and had ceramic coating applied. That cost me £450. To protect the paintwork, I then paid £215 for a proper quality outdoor cover from Classic Editions. I've spent a total of £7,373. £4,318 has been on servicing, MOT, tyres and parts. £1,040 on the wheels and tyres. Paintwork and the new cover cost me £1,800, and the gearbox service £200. So I hope that has been useful for you. I hope it's given you a good idea of what your costs will be, and yeah, you know, if you're happy paying for it, I've spent money on it. I'd like to think I'm going to recoup some of that money when I come to sell it, if I come to sell it, because it's now been 6 years and I'm still happy just keeping this repaired and keeping it going. Thank you very much for watching this video. Please feel free to comment. If you haven't subscribed already, it'd be appreciated, and I will see you for the next video down the road. All right, cheers now, bye bye.